Listen, this is weird, right? This is weird. I want to talk about this first. I didn't do it yet. If we look, let's just take a little look here, right? If we take a look at the MSCI World, this is how the world is doing, right? And even though... Wait, no, MSCI World. Here, okay, sorry. Okay, here we go. Even though we had the corona crisis, the market is on an all-time high, right? The market is doing great. So my first argument, we live in a bubble that needs a correction, which has already started. Number two, inflation is the highest historically since World War II, the highest of our lifetime. And inflation leads to the Fed raising interest rates. And when interest rates are raised and not at zero anymore, that means that all the companies on the planet and private persons that took out a loan have to pay more interest on that loan, which leads to a collapse of the stock market. The FED has announced that as early as March, they are planning to, for the first time in decades, put up the interest rates. So now I'm hanging out, I'm reading shit, and I'm thinking in my brain, isn't there gonna be a little mini crash in March when the Fed increases the interest rates? There will be a little crash, not a fundamental crash like 40%. I don't believe that really, but there's gonna be a little crash. If we take a look at the short position, this is an ETF that shorts the S&P 500. Let me explain. This is an ETF that bets against the American economy. If the American economy does bad, you make money here. And if we take a look here, obviously the corona crash made you good money, and then it just went down a little high here last week, Ukraine conflict, etc. And don't you think that when the interest rate goes up and when the Ukraine conflict, all that shit, right, it's gonna fuck the world economy a bit? You know, I wanted to watch this. I didn't watch this yet. I want to watch it with you. What happens when the Fed increases interest rates? Let me watch this. I want to learn. You know, this is what I'm feeling lately. The economy should be up by the time the chip shortage ends. Shouldn't it pop after that? So you're telling us I want to short the S&P 500 late February, because I think when they announce the interest rate rise up, the economy is going to crash 10 or 20%. I think so. Let's watch this. I want to learn. I'm obviously still...
The Federal Reserve has signaled that it would begin steadily raising interest rates in mid-March.
Against a backdrop of elevated inflation and a strong labor market, our policy has been adapted.
And one thing is crystal clear when I read about the stock market and stuff. The stock market is heavily psychological. Obviously, maths and logic are involved, but there's so much psychology involved. And all these idiots on this planet, they're going to sell all their positions when the interest rate goes up. They're going to be like, oh my god!
To the evolving economic environment.
It's the latest step the Fed is taking toward removing stimulus to bring down inflation.
But Corey, I know this is too high for you. Don't worry, man.
It has raised borrowing costs since December of 2018. Expectations of a faster pace of rate rises prompted investors to change strategies they had used for nearly 2 years, leading to the worst stock market sell-off since the early days of the pandemic. WSJ personal finance reporter JJ McCorvey breaks down how the rate hike could affect mortgages, loans, credit cards, and your retirement planning.
When interest rates go up, it reduces consumer spending and lowering GDP in the economy. It does this mainly in two ways: makes borrowing cost higher, yeah, and gives savers better return on their money.
Mortgage rates have already been increasing in anticipation of the Fed rate hikes, but now
you see, they're already predicting it. They're already betting on it, man.
Go up even more through 2022. However, if you have a 30-year fixed rate mortgage, you have less reason to worry because your rate is locked and you likely won't be affected.
While fixed rate
Ukraine
mortgages
seems like a bluff.
have a
Still,
set
it's affecting economies, right?
the loan, repayments on adjustable rate mortgages become more expensive when interest rates go up. The rate increase could also pose challenges for those shopping for a home.
For people who are new home buyers,
this is me right now in real life, right? I'm getting fucked, man. I have the worst timing ever buying a house.
Even small rate increases can be costly if applied to big purchases when stretched over the life of a multi-year loan. I
mean, 1% on a 500k loan, man, you have to pay 5,000 more, dude. Pretty heavy.
Thank you, Matthias. Private and federal student loans. New interest rates apply to only new loans, but people who have existing private loans might have the option to refinance.
Refinancing student loans could be a good option
Look
for
at
those
these
who
dumbass
qualify
Americans,
for a better
man. Look at them. They have
based
to
on
pay all their
changes
fucking
in
student
credit
loans.
or
It's the
income.
saddest thing in the world.
When it comes to auto loans,
Dude, you go to university to become an educated part of your society, and you actually get fucked by the FED raising interest rates because of a student loan. Now, what a fucked up system.
similar to fixed-rate mortgages,
So insane,
most
man.
won't be affected if you already have one, because they usually come with a fixed interest rate.
But if you're shopping for a car, a new loan with higher interest means you...
Dude, with all due respect, I don't trust you. You have a fucking nose piercing, dude. Let's go to someone else. I don't trust that shit for a second. I'm not gonna trust my money to someone with a fucking nose ring, dude. Not gonna
Interest rates
happen.
wax and wane, but right now they're at very low ebb. They're at zero. When the Fed raises rates, normally what's considered in traditional macro thinking is that interest-sensitive sectors are affected. They're going to probably grow less rapidly than they previously would have. Some people might remember times in the U.S. in the past when interest rates were much, much higher. You have to have some concept in your mind of the normal level of interest rates. And right now, we're way below anybody's concept of the normal level of interest rates because we're very close to zero on the policy rate. I think that was appropriate during the depths of the financial crisis.
But not anymore.
An emergency setting. But now the economy is mostly recovered in terms of the labor market. The unemployment rate, for instance, right now is 5.1%.
Look how long it took to recover from the 2008 crisis, man. A bunch of bankers gambling, right, and not giving a shit about the mortgage bonds, and whole economy dies.
So now it's probably
and
time
none of them went to prison.
gradually inch
Zero.
those interest rates back up. And this should help savers in the economy. It should help investment in the economy. We should be able to attract more capital and get more growth in the economy through
I don't understand that. I thought
savers and borrowers.
I thought when they raised the interest rate, it hurts the economy. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. I had this weird idea of shorting the economy, man. I was thinking that in the next 3 months there's gonna be a dip, man. There's gonna be a little boom because of the interest rates. But then I feel like I'm too dumb, man. I'm too done. Buffett's advice for 2022.
Some people are not actually emotionally or psychologically fit to own stocks, but I think more of them would be if you get educated on what you're really buying, which is part of a business.
That there is
Financial experts
Mr. Warren
and shit.
Buffett, the world's best investor. He took over Berkshire Hathaway in
watched that already, didn't I?
1965, and
think
since
so.
then the stock has averaged 20% returns per year.
Yeah,
that's double
insane,
the return of the
that's
S&P 500
insane.
each year,
Berkshire
which
Hathaway
over time
is
gives Berkshire a
completely
total
shitting
return
on
of
everyone.
2.8 million%
Really insane.
versus the S&P's measly 23,000%. And he's done this
Pretty
by
sick.
following a very simple set
Dude, Mark Zuckerberg's brother over
of
here,
rules
Jesus.
that was summarized quite perfectly by Warren Buffett's longtime business partner and Berkshire Hathaway vice chairman, Charlie Munger.
We have to deal in things that we're capable of understanding, and then once we're over that
let's real
filter,
quick, and then
we
I'm
have
gonna go to
have
gaming. I just want
a
to do this real
business
quick,
with
guys,
some
and if you don't like it,
intrinsic
just don't
characteristics
watch it,
that
man.
give it a durable competitive advantage. And then, of course, we would vastly prefer a management in place with a lot of integrity and talent. And finally, no matter how wonderful it is, it's not worth an infinite
Now, you
price.
cannot,
so we have to have a
you cannot
price
discuss that Warren Buffett
makes sense. And
that guy knows
gives
what
a
the fuck
margin
he's
of
doing,
safety
man.
considering the
So
natural
successful.
vicissitudes of life.
If you would have
It's a
invested
very
into
simple
his
set of
company
ideas.
40 years ago, you'd be a
And
very
the
rich man
reason
now.
that our ideas have not spread faster is they're too simple.
Charlie's right. It's a pretty simple four-step approach. And I should mention at the top of the video that this approach...
It's weird to me that I'm researching so much and no one is saying that something bad could happen this year. Everybody's always, oh, we're going to keep growing. Estimates say that the S&P 500 is growing 9.6% this year. Everybody says, oh, we're all going to grow, man. Don't worry about all the money we're printing or the inflation being 7%. I don't get that shit,
never
man.
changes, no matter the weather
No
in the
one is
market.
scared.
So whether this video was titled Buffett's Advice for 2022 or Buffett's Advice for 1984, these four investing pillars
These dudes
would
know how to
always
squeeze every
remain...
single penny out of us. You're just an idiot. You don't know anything you're talking about. They're all on copium. It even happened before 2008.
the same.
Yeah.
But in 2022, there's no doubt we've got some tricky additional factors to negotiate with our investing. we're facing absurdly overvalued stock markets, inflation is running quite hot, and we're likely going to see some interest rate hikes this year because of that inflation. So in this video, let's listen to Warren Buffett's advice on each of these 3 key factors.
This is what we're talking
and
about.
we
This is what's
start with
gonna
the
happen this
problem
year.
of overvalued stock markets. How do we go
Let's ask rich
about
people how to be
investing
rich
this
while they
year
know how to get
when
rich.
everything is so expensive? Well, if you're an active investor, chances are we might not actually get that many opportunities to buy undervalued stocks within our circle of competence this year. This is what Warren Buffett said on this matter back in 2019 in his annual letter to shareholders. He said, in the years...
I agree with you. They are all scared. This is why they're printing money. Printing money is for the banks in the blah, 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 drip that keeps you blah, blah. It's running on imaginary fumes. And I always feel like I get the world works like that. I'm not like against it. This is just how it works. But this imaginary dream has to correct itself.
Ahead, we hope to move much of our excess liquidity into businesses that Berkshire will permanently own.
I don't know shit.
The immediate prospects for that, however, are not good. Prices are sky high for businesses possessing decent...
Today, right, once a week I go to a local canteen and I get pasta with tomato sauce and cheese for €4.90. I came today, they raised the price to $5.30. How can I be wrong about the economy crashing?
Long-term prospects.
My pasta
now, yes, Buffett is
40 cents
trying
more.
to buy entire businesses while we're just trying to buy a few shares, but it's all the same thing at the end of the day. And no doubt he has really struggled to find places to put his money in the past year or two. But he doesn't just burn his money on overvalued stocks, right? That is a cardinal sin of investing. Instead, he just continues
don't buy overvalued stocks. For example, when people are like, buy Tesla, you're an idiot.
Accumulate cash, and he waits patiently. Berkshire Hathaway's cash pile has grown from $84.4 billion in Q3 2016 to $149.2 billion in Q3 2021. So it's by no means ideal. But remember, you don't make money when you buy or sell. You make money while you wait. Be patient.
Dude, I know you guys are talking shit. Oh, these rich people are idiots. This is just real life, man. This is
for those
very
right opportunities to come along. And don't get sucked into buying average investments in a very overvalued market, because
even Elon Musk is selling Tesla because everyone knows it's going to crash. Ultra fake news. This is very interesting. When we talk about the stock market, chat is just full of idiocracy. Elon Musk has not sold Tesla. He explained 20 million times, even though no one is listening to him, that his options were over the beginning this year, which means by law, in contract, his options of Tesla stock, which he is getting paid with, had to be sold. And then idiots all around the world are like, wait, Elon is selling Tesla. He's not. You're just too fucking dumb to understand anything.
Remember, as Buffett says, you don't need that many great stocks in your whole lifetime.
But 3 wonderful businesses is more than you need in this life to do very well.
How many times have we heard that from Buffett? You don't need that many wonderful investments in your life to do very well. So stay patient until the market eventually offers you one. So that's the unfortunate reality of active investing in 2022, but there is another investing strategy out there that Buffett frequently recommends for most people, which is of course passive investing. Videos. And for passive investors that are...
Key takeaways of passive investing. Passive investing broadly refers to a buy and hold portfolio strategy. This is what I want to do, yeah. Which is why I think I should not short the market. I'm way too dumb for that shit. This is exactly what I want to do, and I think you should do, is just be a passive cunt. Don't be an idiot that walks around on Twitter, I'm crypto, I follow crypto people on Twitter. Just fucking invest in good shit, stuff that makes sense, and then you don't look for 10 years, man. That's the best way. Which is why I feel like I should not short the S&P. I feel like in the beginning of March I want to short it, because when the interest rate goes up they all cry and you make a quick 20% or something. Index investing is perhaps the most common form of passive investing, blah blah. Passive investment is cheaper, less complex, and often produces superior after-tax results.
Simply dollar cost averaging and participating in the stock market, they should definitely continue to invest in 2022.
The best single thing you could have done on March 11th, 1942, when I bought my first stock, was just buy an index fund and never look at a headline, never think about stocks anymore, just like you would do if you bought a farm. You just buy the farm and let the...
Dude, this guy's such a genius, man. You can figure that this guy is a genius, man. It's so simple. Buy something and then shut the fuck up about it. Don't look. and all day long, GameStop.
Let the tenant farmer
so
run it
basic
for you.
and
And I
intelligent.
pointed out that if you'd put $10,000 in an index fund that reinvested dividends, and I paused for a moment to let the audience try and guess how much it amount to, and it would come to $51 million now.
I love that.
So you just invest 10K in 1943, and then you shut up and you don't watch anything, and you have 51 million. That's kind of what I'm trying to do when I look at my ETFs. Just don't look at them, right?
For the passive
Like right now
investor,
they're down
it
because
isn't
of the
about
mini crash,
trying
but
to invest at the perfect
whatever.
times.
Don't look.
The nature of the dollar cost averaging strategy is that you continue to buy market tracking investments at the same time intervals, rain, hail, or shine. And by doing this over decades and decades, you will get the average return of the market.
And that's the point about stock market. You can't lose if you have a little bit of a brain, right? You can't lose here. Just don't be an idiot that sells and crashes. And it's
by the
easy,
way,
right?
it's about 8 to 10% per
sucks, huh?
year.
So I would pick a broad index, but I wouldn't toss a chunk in at any one time. I would do it over a period of time because
I got a herpes blister.
the very
today.
nature of index
weird.
funds is that you are saying, I think America's business is going to do well over, or reasonably well over a long period of time, but I don't know enough to pick the winners and I don't know enough to pick the winning times. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't know enough to pick the winning times. Occasionally I think I know enough to
Buy
pick a
high
winner,
and
but
sell
not very
low.
often.
Well, your name is
And I
crypto.
certainly can't pick winners by going down through the whole list and saying this is a winner and this isn't and so on. So the important thing to do, if you have an
Once again,
overall
this video does
feeling
not
that
talk
business
at all
is
yet
a
about
reasonable
the,
place to have your money
he's
over a
talking
long period
inflation
of
now.
time,
Okay, he's going to talk
is
about
to invest
inflation.
over a long
I
period
really
of
wonder
time
what they say
and
about
not make
inflation.
any bet implicitly by putting a big chunk in at a given time.
So for passive
Tom, there you
investors,
go.
as Warren was just saying, don't worry that the market is high or low. Just keep on going. Never read a headline, never look at a chart. Just follow your strategy, have an ultra long-term mindset, and the stock market is your friend. I mean, even if you invested everything and
And that kind of goes against my gambling stuff. I always felt like I want to personally have 80 to 90% passive, safe stuff, like ETFs, and 10% gambling. 10% I'm like, let's get Tesla, let's get GameStop, let's short something. Just a little bit of fun, you know? And, yeah.
the market crashed
I think
50%
that's the best
tomorrow.
way.
That's still not a disaster for long-term passive investors. After the GFC, literally the world's worst financial crisis since the Great Depression, it only took 5.5 years to be back where you were. And 9 years on, the market has nearly tripled itself from that point. So yes, the market is high right now, but that's not the end of the world. As active investors, we need to stay patient and not do anything silly. And as passive investors, we need to
10%
continue
gambling is okay.
on
Yeah,
as we
10% like
always
gambling.
have. Just keep gunning for that average.
And at the moment, my portfolio
But
is way too
next
much
up, what
gambling. I
about
have to get that out.
inflation? That's been a big story over the
I will
past
check
12
Reddit today,
months,
yeah, sure,
and
man.
rightly so. We're up to 6.8% annual inflation in the US, and it's looking likely that inflation will be a big story going into 2022 as well.
It's a fascinating time. We've never really seen what shoveling money in on the basis that we're doing it on a
Because of this man here, right? I invested in Coca-Cola. They also always have Coca-Cola everywhere because they're heavily invested. And Coca-Cola is great. I'm a plus 30%, man.
a fiscal
With
basis while
dividends.
following a monetary policy of
I owe this guy money.
something close to zero interest rates, and it is enormously pleasant. But in economics, there's one thing always to remember: you can never do one thing. You always have to say, and then what?
That was Warren speaking back in May 2021, before inflation had really taken off. You can tell he saw inflation coming, can't you? It's exactly
too
as
hard,
Buffett
man.
said, you know, in economics, you can't just do one thing. You have to ask, and then what? And what do you know? The zero interest rates,
Hey,
the money
Tommy,
printing
have you ever heard
finally
about Game
caught up
Shadow
with it.
Tactics? Think it would be perfect for stream and you'd enjoy. Happy
Never heard of it,
Valentine's
and I will
Day.
probably never play it. I just want to be dead honest. Thank you for the nation, man.
This. Inflation is running hot. So, Mr. Buffett, what do we do about it? Well, Buffett's actually explained this one a long, long time ago. We're going back
So here
to
we go. This is important.
1980.
What the fuck do you do when there's an... And I was thinking of shorting the market.
To
which is
a
probably
time
really
where
dumb.
US
I probably shouldn't do
inflation
it.
was just cooling down after it had risen to about 20%. In 1982,
Ay, ay, ay.
Buffett wrote in his annual letter to shareholders exactly what sort of businesses we should be buying during inflationary periods. He said, quote, "Such favored business must have two characteristics. One, an ability to increase prices rather easily, even when product demand is flat and capacity is not fully utilized, without fear of significant loss of either market share or unit volume. And 2, an ability to accommodate large dollar volume increases in business, often produced more by inflation than real growth, with only minor additional investment of capital. So number 1, he's talking about businesses that have an ability to increase prices and cop no consequences. That definitely helps to counter.
And that sounds like big companies, Apple, Coca-Cola, something like that, right?
The effects of inflation.
Stuff that's just everyday
but
life
what
important.
business could raise prices substantially and not lose market share? Surely people would look for some sort of cheaper product elsewhere. Well, not if you have a moat, not if you have a competitive advantage. Apple raises their prices higher than the competition all the time. No consequences to their market
all
share.
These idiots are gonna buy
Coca-Cola raises their prices.
I'm an expert. I'm a fucking financial expert, man. Whoa.
People don't switch to the other drinks. And funnily enough, they're 2 of Warren Buffett's biggest investments right now.
Oh, you know what I love? You know what I think is amazing? There is laws that funds have to show what they're invested in. So if you ever don't know what you're doing, you just go to really successful investors like Warren Buffett and you check what they're investing in. And you can kind of, like here, he got Chevron Corp. They bought 24% of Chevron. This is a very normal, right? He just is really invested in very normal stuff. Very normal stuff. I mean, Apple is just, dude, 42% Apple. 42% Apple, dude. He made so much money just with Apple, dude.
The single most important thing to do during
Apple,
periods of inflation is to ensure the companies you're looking at have a competitive advantage.
I always told you guys this. I learned that from a Warren Buffett book. When you invest in something, you have to fictionally think, do they have a moat like a castle? Like you close your eyes and you wake up 5 years later, do you think that your investment is still safe? And that's my point against crypto. That's the crypto thing. I don't see a moat in Bitcoin. I don't see defense in Bitcoin. No, but most people don't even know what the fuck Bitcoin is. In my opinion, it's a Ponzi scheme. And it doesn't have a moat. But then you look at Apple, Coca-Cola, Amazon, they're going to be around 5 years. They're not going to go anywhere. And that is very, very safe investments. And they have a moat.
Something that means they will keep their customers and thus their market share, even if they raise prices. And then secondly, Buffett says we need to look for businesses that can accommodate.
You see his current portfolio right here. Let's check that afterwards. Thank you. That's interesting. I like to always check. Let's check 2 portfolios in a second. Wait, it's like not working. 1 sec. I can't check that website. It's not. There's ad block. Fuck that.
Accommodate a large dollar volume increase in business
I know that,
with only minor additional investment of capital. So essentially companies that are able to generate a lot more cash without needing to spend a lot to make that happen. So this just means you need to look at the companies that have very scalable business models. You know, Facebook doesn't need to, without needing to spend a lot to make that happen. So this just means
look out the guy's watching.
Without needing to spend a lot
He's like,
to make
Wallah, Habibi, Junge, Wallah.
that happen. So this just means you need to look at the companies that have very scalable business.
Thank you for the link. Can someone please send me a link for the Sion Capital?
You know, Facebook doesn't need to build another app just to make more ad revenue. They can just increase the frequency of their ads. Whereas if Ford wants to make double their revenue, they'd need to build new factories or hire more employees to make more cars. That's a much harder task. So in times of inflation, look for that competitive advantage and also look for companies that are easily scalable.
Chevron is an energy company. Chevron. They massively bought Chevron. What is Chevron? It's an American multinational energy corporation. Oh, dude, they're already... Dude, Warren Buffett is a genius. Holy crap, man. Easy money. But the problem is, right, I always feel like it's too late now. It's like, wow, okay, good investment, but bro, it's already too high. Even though they always say you shouldn't care about that, just go, right? But it's already too high. But wow, I don't even know this existed. These people know what the fuck they're doing, man.
And then lastly, let's talk about interest rates. The Fed has announced they're thinking about 3 interest rate hikes in 2022. What does Buffett have to say about interest rates?
Okay, here we go.
Interest rates, you know, basically are to the value of assets what gravity is to matter, you know, essentially. And on Thursday,
you need to buy the dip.
U.S. Treasury.
The problem is, since I'm an investor, I didn't have a drip yet. I just read an article in a big German magazine that, more under 30-year-olds than ever before in history are investing in the stock market now. The Corona crash in 2020, right, has led so many young people. Thank you, Bjorn. Thank you, dude. Has led so many young people to go into the stock market. And unfortunately, my portfolio started after the Corona crash because my bank was so slow. I didn't really see a drip yet. Obviously, when there's a drip one day, I'm gonna probably buy for like, I don't know, 20,000 or something. 100% sure. But young people like us that just started, we didn't experience a drip yet. A real one.
Sold some
waiting
4-week notes, treasury bills, and it says average price 100.000000, 6 zeros. The treasury received the money at 0. So you've had this incredible reduction in the so-called super risk-free group, the short-term treasury bill. And that is the yardstick against which other values are measured. I mean, if I could reduce gravity...
Warren Buffett is kind of outdated, bro. Let's check how outdated Warren Buffett is, okay? Let's see how outdated Warren Buffett is. How did he do in the last 5 years? Man, the dude is really outdated, huh? This old boomer doesn't know shit. God, he sucks at his job. What an old boomer, right? What? Bro, I buy crypto and I sell at -20 and I tell my mom I have to move back in again and then I watch TommyKay all day. I can't even afford a sub. But Warren Buffett, what a loser. Am I right, guys?
Oh, by about 80%. I mean, I'd be in the Tokyo Olympics jumping. And essentially, if interest rates were 10%, valuations are much different. So you've had this incredible change in the valuation of everything that produces money, because the risk-free rate produces
I didn't understand
really
anything.
Short enough right now.
I have no idea what you
nothing.
just said.
So that is another clip from the shareholder
explain.
meeting in May 2021, and it explains exactly why the market is so high right now. Because interest rates are at 0, the big money managers are simply not getting a return in bonds. So the money they would normally have in bonds finds its way into the stock market to chase returns. And
doesn't that mean that when the interest rate goes higher, they take that money out and the market has a little crash? This is what I'm saying. Thank you, Vovo.
Pushes up valuations. That's the...
Yeah, it pushes valuation. Right, I'm not a genius, but low interest rate in this area led to this growth. So when the interest rate is going up because of the inflation, isn't this gonna correct itself down to this? Isn't that just logic?
Dynamic that Buffett was talking about. Interest rates are to stock market valuations what gravity is to matter. The lower the gravity, the easier it is to jump, but if you increase gravity, it's much harder. Same thing with the stock market. That's now we're seeing
If you don't look at it, stick to it. Marconi, you don't have to. Are you fucking serious, Marconi?
Low interest rates, which means
shut up, Marconi.
Stock market valuations rise very easily. There's a lot of money flowing into the market, but in 2022, we're about to start going in the other direction. Interest rates are going to start rising, and the higher interest rates rise, the stronger gravity's pull, the harder it is to jump. So while you should never let the macroeconomic environment impact your own...
Yes, Marconi, if you will have watched the whole stream, you will know that I even said what you just said myself on stream and to myself, that I'm a passive investor, I like passive invest, but you probably didn't see the beginning, and then you do, Tommy, you should do, I know what I'm doing, Marconi. I don't need that. Thank you very much. I'm just watching this to be informed and understand what's going on.
Personal investing, it's just worth noting that in 2022 and 2023 and so on, we might see valuations come under pressure, particularly for overvalued stocks, as new
money will flow out of stocks and back into bonds. Yeah. So I'm saying, yeah, maybe Michael Burry was off timing. I'm just saying, this is the whole point I'm saying here. Marconi. When the interest rate goes up in the middle of March, because the Fed does that, the stock market is going to crash a bit because they re-evaluate their money into bonds, the big managers, and the normies, the normal ones, oh my god, I have to sell. So I was just thinking, what if early March I buy this short position, this is shorting the S&P 500, right? Then it goes up a little bit. I don't know, maybe even, I mean, it's monumental. It could go up like here. You make your 20% and you sell. You have a 20% deal. On 10K, you make 12K minus taxes. Well, you only make 1K, right? With a big risk. Kind of sucks, man. Not really worth it.
Bonds get more enticing and interest rates rise. So no doomsday prediction, but just know that that is a possibility across the next few years. So be ready for it. And that, my friends, is a selection of Warren Buffett's advice, which will hopefully help us with the big investing challenges of 2022. Hope you enjoyed this video. And if you did find it useful, please leave a like on the video. This supports the video greatly in the YouTube algorithm, and it really does help the channel to...
What the fuck?
Welcome to
the Filthy Frank Show. What the fuck? I guess I'm not gonna do it. I want to just not touch it, man. You know, I don't think I'm touching this shit. I think I'm too dumb for it. I should just stay with my shit. I'm taking a look at my... Oh, shit. Can someone please send me... Oh, someone just sent me the Michael Burry one. Send that to me again, please. Can someone send me the Michael Burry one again? Sorry, I just accidentally deleted it. Can you send me the Michael Burry one again? Thank you, dude. Thank you, man. Thank you. Let's take a little look. And yeah, my depot is at the moment at minus 4%. I'm at minus 2,300 euros, which is normal. Again, I'm learning that the market is crashing. But when I look at my portfolio, I'm just checking if I'm going to leak anything. I don't want to like leak stuff. And I'm going to show it in 3, 2, 1. This is my portfolio. I will be careful with leaking stuff. And it's not looking that good, as you can see, which is normal. The market's going down. The main problem is what I'm unhappy with, like something like this. This minus 11 doesn't touch me at all. I don't give two fucks. This is going to come back up. Problem is, I'm very happy with stuff like this and this. This was stupid buys I got a while ago, which were really, really dumb. They're still going to come back. My current strategy is that I'm waiting for certain gambling positions like Nell, Borussia Dortmund, HelloFresh, also Xylem, to go back up to at least 5 to 10%. Same with Paradox, they're getting close now. Then at 10% I sell, because I once read you shouldn't sell at like 5%, because then the taxes and you don't make any money. And my goal is to get out of this gambling shit and then really just get into these ETFs, right? I know ETFs can go down. Still, this is actually not a good ETF. It only has 30 positions, but they're gonna come back up. The water stocks, this is all very safe. It's green even during the crisis right now. Yeah, Coca-Cola is just massive, dude. Doing great. And that's kind of my strategy in a way. And yeah, as I was saying before, if you never know what you want to do in your life, just check very, very successful funds. Like this is like the most important, one of the most successful ones ever. And you just check what they're doing. Like Michael Burry has just bought Lockheed Martin, man. I used to be invested in them because they're one of the best dividend stocks in the world. They pay amazing value on dividends. And they just massively invested in them. And what happens just today? A massive $10 push, man. Crazy. And yeah, dude, beautiful buy here. And this is where I think I'm a retard. I'm stupid, right? Not just war, it's also a lot of space travel. Space travel is coming more and more, rockets and shit. And you know, this is where I'm an idiot. The drop happens, and all these geniuses, like Michael Burry, they see, oh, it's coming back. He invests and makes fucking mad money on this shit. If he bought it here, he already went plus $60 per position, man. And he has 2,000 shares, 200,000. So he probably made like 200,000 times 60. 200,000, you can literally see that stuff. Times 60 with taxes and shit. Dude, he made fucking 12 million just with that. Still taxes and shit, but just genius. He also bought, I don't know what that is. I have no idea. And then we take a look at Warren Buffett. This is like the biggest normie stock ever. This is just ultra normie stuff. Very safe and normie. And yeah, they're doing... It doesn't show what they buy and stuff though. Very basic stuff. There's some websites that show you what they buy, and you feel like, oh wait, this genius is buying something, maybe I should do it too. Anyway, that was Stock Market with Tommy K. I'm stopping now. I'm just very interested in this stuff. I'm still not that successful. I want to get successful though. Let's see what happens. Oh, Lisa told me I have to put some fish out. I have to get some fish. 1 sec.